What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It is Kush back at it again with another episode of the Young Guns podcast. Kidblue will be in here soon, hopefully. You already know how it is. We out here. I see Levance in there, Sober Party, Michael B, Luann. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? How is everybody? You know what I'm saying? Until KB gets in here, we'll rock it. We'll rock it. It is Christmas season. So for those of you, well, most of you know that KB works with the the postal service. So around this time, they're really busy, which means he's like swamped up with work 90% of the time right now. I really love it's hilarious. The Young Guns logo is blocking my mic. But when KB pops in, I'm going to be shifted over. So right now, this is actually super convenient that is blocking my mic, and I do hope that the audio is coming through well. Still relatively new with this and with the new webcam too. I don't know it's really much of a difference, which is kind of a disappointment in the webcam, but it is supposed to be better. I guess there's no fisheye lens anymore, meaning that there's no curve once you get more and more out to the edge. It's just a straight, nice lens. I don't know. It is what it is, but how's everybody doing, man? Welcome in. How y'all doing? Vance says, Brother Hub, Brother KB. What up, Brother Vance? So Buddy says, who's the pass rusher on San Diego? I think he was an Ohio State kid as well. Joey Bosa, not Chase Young. But yeah, I think Bosa was Ohio State as well, right? I could be wrong about that. You guys make sure to let me know what's up with that. I'm also got to check real quick. There has been one comment on the members post. So every time we do Young Guns, I always post up a short post that says members get a chance to ask any question they want, and then during the stream, me and KB will have a little section to address that question. Speak of him, he's right here. What up, bro? How you doing? So
What's going on, man?
I'm really hoping that you guys kind of, if any members are in here right now, you guys definitely pay attention to that more, or keep an eye out for it whenever we do have a chance to do Young Guns, because I want to get more and more questions in there. Shout out to Calvin. He was the lone responder this one time. Sunday usually responds as well. I'm sure she'll pop in at some time. But what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling.
You're chilling, but it's
Yeah,
not
I'm
just chilling
chilling.
right now.
Yeah, at this point, man, I'm just as far as the Giants go. I'm so out of it, man. I'm so honestly, I'm so glad that I didn't have to because I was like listening to you guys as I was working,
Bro, that was
this past
depressing.
Sunday, and it was very depressing. I was like, I'm so glad I wasn't on camera
That was
because
beyond depressing, honestly.
yeah, I was just distraught in that game. Besides the whole, Mike Glenn starting, just the rest of the team was just garbage. Besides the defense, I mean, the defense didn't do terrible. I mean, they only wound up letting up 20 points, but it was close throughout the whole entire game. It's just the offense couldn't get anything going. You had Saquon just not catching the ball. Saquon being Saquon, not running for more gains. It looks like Devontae Booker is a better back in this system with this offensive line. It's just everything is just flips upside down. And now we have this news that Jake Fromm might start. Now he might not start because Mike Glennon might actually pass concussion protocol. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I kind of want to see what Jake Fromm can do, even though I don't. At this point, it's a circus, right? At this point, it's a circus. I have no expectations going into this game whatsoever, and I don't want to see the giraffe anymore. I want to see Jake Fromm. I want to see what the hell this guy can do with 1 week under an offense.
Listen, this is what I gotta say, because you just hopped right into all the
Oh yeah,
topics.
I had to.
All right,
I had to.
hopped
Yeah.
right into all the topics. I'm not gonna hop right in immediately. Shout out to Nerding Out Sports in here. What I will say though, hey, we got Logan, we got Super Tajro, everybody popping in now. Is yo, listen. First of all, guys, hit that like button and hit the share button. We've been doing this
Mhm.
for like about a year now, over a year actually, year and a
Mhm.
half. I want to say close, coming up to 2 years. This April or May or something like that, I believe, actually coming up to 2 years. I could be wrong on that. Yo, hit the like button, share it out. What up, Marjorie? How you doing? What's up, everybody?
What's up, Marge?
Before we get into the Giants, make sure you go over to Kidblue, sub him up. If you're not subbed to him, if you're new to the channel, somehow sub me up as well. Today, before we get to the Giants, was a good day, for me at least. Today was a great day. Y'all, all of y'all that's in here right now, need to go over to my Twitch channel and follow me. All right,
Oh yeah,
officially
yeah.
relaunched my Twitch channel today. I streamed for 4.5 hours. There was one
Wow.
person in there with me.
Was it you? Was it
No,
you?
it was some dude named Drift something, bro. It's Drift or something. Here's the link. Please go over, give your boy a follow. There's no reason I should have like 10 followers on Twitch and one person watching a 4.5 hour live stream. But that wasn't why it was good. It was good today because guess what, guys? Halo Infinite campaign came out today, and that's what I was streaming for 4.5 hours.
Mm.
And Kidblue, just like myself, is a huge Halo fan. I will go out on a limb and say personally, I'm probably the biggest Halo fan there is in the entire world. I've read most of the books, I've played all the games, I've watched all
For
the
sure
media.
are, bro.
Listen, here's the thing. Hey, let's go. That's actually my Twitch thing popping up for some reason. It says Kidblue is following because our Streamlabs is connected to Twitch as well.
Yes, sir.
Kidblue was a bit skeptical on the multiplayer, but he played it with me a couple nights ago, and he could tell you it was amazing.
It was that is a really balanced game.
And
I
guess
like it.
what? The campaign, 4.5 hours in, is the best campaign I've played on the 343. And it's only 4.5 hours in. And since it's an open world as well, I was doing the side missions too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
You
that.
already know 4.5 hours in is probably like maybe 2 hours in the actual campaign. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just
yeah.
judging off of that, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. So guys, if you
Nice.
want to see that, I will of course all my Madden stuff will be shifting there as well. Anything gaming wise will be on Twitch now. And yeah, to give you an idea of how long those streams will be, it will be like it'll be very, very long. I plan to make them very, very long. It's, there's a reason Twitch is the streaming platform and YouTube is more so the YouTube platform. But just put that out there. Give me a follow. And then now getting to the Giants, I wasn't going to delay it too long. I'm not going to tell you all that for too long now. Now getting to the Giants, where do you want to start, man? Do you want to start with Jake from State Farm? Do you want to start with Glennon and his giraffe neck getting a concussion? How about we start with the Carpenter? Because that's been a hilariously fun topic to talk about with the Giants.
The
Wilson, as
carbon.
in Russell Wilson, Marjorie?
Yeah, there is a. It just came out today. There's a report, and Russell Wilson's been linked to the Giants for a while. There's a report that Russell Wilson is willing to waive his trade clause for the following teams: the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos, and I'm missing one of them.
This is not the
New York
first time
Giants.
we've had a quarterback like with that similar type thing waive their trade clause. We're always in this. I don't know if he
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
wants to come here or, he's just trying to get off his team.
That's the most troubling thing because it's funny because when that whole debacle was going down last offseason with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, the Giants were also a team that he was interested in as well. So this has to be real. This has to be true. But the thing is, why Russell Wilson? Like I don't even want to do that to him, man. Like he literally was going to leave the Seahawks because of the issues with the offensive line and them not really protecting him and taking care of him.
Real quick, shout out to Mike.
Yeah,
I'll
go
get
ahead,
to your
do that.
no, I'll get to your soup chat when you finish. So go ahead.
Okay, but they were gonna leave. He was gonna leave because of the negligence that was brought forth by the Seahawks as far as Russell Wilson is. Because obviously he's a dual threat quarterback. He's the guy that can get out the pocket and run. So the Seahawks didn't see it as a priority to fix the offensive line. It's been like that since he's been a Seattle Seahawk. The offensive line has always been bad. He was literally going to leave last offseason, but then he names the Giants as a potential landing spot. We literally have probably the second worst offensive line in the league right now. So I don't know if he wants to continue to run for his life, but instead in the Big Apple. But if that's a true statement, then that's something I'm considering. But at this point in Russell Wilson's career, not saying he's not great, he still is a great quarterback. But are we at a point where we can win with Russell Wilson with the amount of years he has left? Can we build this team in time for Russell Wilson, or should we just start over with a brand new quarterback like a Bryce Young? That's something that you'll have to think about, or people would have to think about, and especially the Giants as an organization would have to think about if they're ready to win now or they're ready to rebuild. I'm honestly, I love Russell Wilson. I'm honestly on the rebuild train. I want to get a quarterback that we can keep for 15, 20 years. I really, really like Bryce Young. I'm a huge fan of Bryce Young. I'm willing to wait for Bryce Young and bridge a quarterback next year. Like, have Daniel Jones as a bridge or, Teddy Bridgewater as a bridge. But, I'm willing to go on that route. But if the price is right, I guess I could see Russell Wilson coming to New York. But if we're going to give up first round picks, if we're going to give up huge draft capital, I'm not on board with bringing in Russell Wilson just because this team is not in a position to have a quarterback like that late in his career to try to win a Super Bowl.
So I'll say this first off. Shout out to Engraven Vids in here, guys. Go over there, check out Engraven saying Teddy Bridgewater. Funny you mentioned that. Another
Yeah.
Giants content creator, Mike Nixon, a couple years in a row have suggested we done that. And honestly, that would be the move for this offseason, but I think he's like one of the higher paid bridge quarterbacks now. Anyway,
Yeah.
first of
That's
all,
true.
to Mike Nixon's super chat for $5. Thank you so much, Mike. He says, I'd rather start Fromm. He's way better than Glennon. Glennon is by far the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. He literally doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. I don't know about all that, Mike. I'm pretty sure Mike Glennon's going to be better than Jake Fromm, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm really not excited to see Jake Fromm at all. I hope he
Jake from
proves me
State
wrong.
From.
No, Jake Fromm State Farm, bro. Jake Fromm State Farm. Guys, let me know if my mic is too close because I'm seeing weird audio spikes. Like I said, I'm still figuring stuff out. KB, you're not hearing the mic right now, though, because remember, I go through StreamYard and then through things. So what you're hearing is my
Gotcha.
webcam mic instead of the
Gotcha,
actual
gotcha,
mic.
gotcha. I was wondering why. I was like, hold on, that mic is better than
Yeah,
that.
no, it is 100%. And for the Russell Wilson thing, though, I guess I'd agree with you. If it doesn't cost much, I wouldn't be rioting, saying the Giants are throwing their franchise down the drain once again or something like that. But I really don't want to get him no matter what. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't want to get him. I really want to do a full rebuild, a full restart.
No,
And
I agree. I agree. I agree.
you could argue so many points that we have done a full rebuild. You could argue so many points that we haven't done a full rebuild. I just wanna get with the players that we have right now, build a line. My stance on this has been very, very consistent with the past couple of months. Build the offensive line this draft, get one of those stud edge rushers this draft, and then get your quarterback in the following offseason, whether it's through free agency, through trade, or through the draft. That's been my stance, and I'm gonna stick with that. To be honest, shout out to the Big Blue podcast in here. As by the name, I'm gonna guess, of course, a Big Blue podcast. So definitely go over there and check them out as well, guys. Josh in here, Ash Money as well. But yeah, what do you say to that?
But yeah, I completely agree, and I think we're both on the same wavelength when it comes to this. I already have my heart set that listen, Daniel Jones just at this point just doesn't look like the guy. I know we've been defenders of him since he's been in the league, and I wasn't somebody that supported us drafting him in the first place, but he was our quarterback. I had to go out and defend the guy. But at this point in his career, it's not that he is necessarily the problem, but he's definitely not the guy to get
He's
us
not
out
the
of the
answer.
problem. Right,
Yeah.
right. He's not the answer. He's not the guy to get us out of this problem. He's not going to win despite of the team that we have, like a Russell Wilson would. But at this point in Russell Wilson's career, I would not be on board with taking him in because, we're just going to sign him in. We're going to trade for him, trade up good draft capital that we can use to help build around him or build around a young quarterback. And, Russell Wilson's going to be stuck fighting for his life, running for his life, getting out the pocket. And it's going to be very similar to what you see in the Seahawks. We may win more games with Russell Wilson. I don't doubt that whatsoever. We may win more games with Russell Wilson, but I don't think this team would be built for the long run unless people are really thinking about the now in like a Peyton Manning situation. You know what I'm saying? But in the same token, I mean, the Denver Broncos, when they brought in Peyton Manning, were just about ready to make a run for the Super Bowl. This team is in no way, shape, or form in a position to bring in a top tier quarterback like this. You're going to be paying a lot of money for him. Like people aren't even considering that. You have to pay, his yearly salary on top of trading for draft capital just to try to, win, 3 or 4 more games, get into a playoffs and just get kicked out. So it's not something that I'm looking for. I really want to wait one more year, see what we have in Daniel. Not that I'm really looking for, Daniel to be the
And
franchise
that's
guy.
yeah, and real quick, that's part of like my not necessarily plan, but my thing as well. Like even by building the line and getting that edge this offseason, it gives Daniel another year to show me something. And if he doesn't show me something, then guess what? 2023
Exactly.
is his replacement.
You're killing two birds with one stone. You
Exactly.
already kind of have the I guess sense that you're going to be drafting a quarterback, early in this next draft wherever you land. You may even trade up for, a Bryce Young in this next draft who I really have my eyes set on. And, the Giants front office, whoever those people will be, because we don't think Dave Gettleman will be there anymore. We see, some other GM, they're going to have their eyes set on getting a new quarterback in this draft, but they're going to wait it out with Daniel Jones as that bridge quarterback, quote unquote. And
Yeah, because he's gonna be cheap.
Exactly. He's going to be cheap. He's on the rookie option. You don't want to bring in, like, I was on board with bringing in Teddy Bridgewater if the Giants were to let go of Daniel Jones. But I would rather keep Daniel Jones. He's much cheaper. He was already on this team. And just see what we have in Daniel Jones. Not that I'm really looking, that's kind of like the 1B situation, kind of killing two birds with one stone. I really want to use him as a bridge quarterback, but I also want to see what else he has left, what he can do under his final year. And I basically, you could say, a contract year for him. This would be make or break for Daniel Jones. See what he is under a lot of pressure. And if that ultimately does not work out, then we cut our losses. We don't take his 5th-year option and we draft the Bryce Young in the next draft. It's really an easier transition than bringing in a Russell Wilson, seeing if we could win for him for 3 or 4 years, and then having to restart all over again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Whoever that quarterback is going to be in 23, if Daniel Jones does end up failing, then yeah, that's where I'm at with it. To quickly address the chat, let's see here. Ian Bryan says, I would love the Giants to draft Bryce Young, but I highly doubt we would have the first overall pick. If things go according to plan, we've seen quarterbacks drop down, quarterbacks rise up.
Yeah, they
So we'll
are
see.
dropping nowadays.
Exactly. I mean, quarterbacks usually don't, it is what it is. I'll leave it at that. Marjorie says, I agree, KB, as long as we don't give up too much. Luann, what up? She says, why did we let Colt McCoy go? You know what? I completely agree with that. Colt McCoy was a better backup than Mike Glennon, man.
I am so pissed off because, like, he balled with the Cardinals. He beat Seattle. You check this out. He was with us last year and he beat Seattle. Then he goes with the Cardinals and beats Seattle.
Listen, he's Seattle's kryptonite, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's clearly what that means. Big Blue Podcast says it wouldn't really be a rebuild. DJ is kind of a bridge. Yup, I agree, for a year, and then build the rest of the team around him. He's on the same wavelength as me and you. I'm just going to run through a couple of Ds. Levan said, stop by Stewart's convenience store tonight to get a coffee and went to pay for it. The employee said it was free because I bring good vibes into the store. Hey, that's nice. What's up, man. Nice. Yo, go spread that good vibes everywhere, man. I've been watching a lot of, for some reason, my For You page on TikTok has been filled with a lot of, like, good vibes, good feeling type stuff, like light worker type stuff. And I was just like, you know what? I appreciate that. Vincent Sabia says, they can't rebuild. They have to pay many people. To be honest, there's only one person that's on the team contract-wise, long-term, quote-unquote. And I'm when I say long-term, I mean through 2024.
Kenny G, right?
Yeah, Kenny Galladay is the person with the longest contract on the team right now, and it's into 2024. Everybody is off the books by 2023, like everybody else is by 2023. So it's not terrible. It's not an ideal situation either, but it's not terrible. It's not really that bad. Shots of Benny. Benny just followed the Twitch channel. That's what's up, man. Better see y'all in chat. Shout out to whoever Drift was, but that was kind of depressing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm kidding. I had so much fun, yo. You gotta download it, bro. You know what the great part is? Like, cause I'm complaining all the time about how newer games are like 100 gigabytes. The campaign is only like 20-something gigabytes big.
How long is the runtime for the campaign, you know?
Great question. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Obviously, it's like a 4-hour campaign.
Well, I played 4 hours today.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, the average Halo campaign is what, 8 to 10? And that's linear level instead of open world. Add open world to it, I'm going to assume is going to be at least 15 hours,
side
bro.
Missions too, maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 15 hours, to be honest with you.
So
at least.
Is it like an open world, like a Mass Effect type thing when you're traveling different planets and stuff like that? Or
no, once you hit the map, like at the very beginning of the game, this is not even a spoiler if you've seen any of the trailers. At the very beginning of the game, you hit the Halo ring, and you're like, the entire like that there's a gigantic part of the Halo ring that you're just rolling around in.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then the missions are there. Vincent, oh wait, I already talked about Vincent here. Mike Nixon said 50 cents for every time I say Jake from State Farm because that's his team name. He trademarked it. Let's see here. Josh. Okay, no. I'm just going through. Sorry if I seem a little bit all over the place, guys. All right, you're Raj and Cowboy X Factor. And what up, Cowboy X Factor? Been a minute. Nate
it's
talks
been a while,
football.
Man.
And here's but Cowboy X Factor is a great person on Instagram, bro. He's like always there, commenting on my stuff, liking my stuff. He's amazing.
Dude, he was one of my first subscribers. I think he was within like the first 200.
Y'all better check out Cowboy X Factor stuff, man. I know he's very active on Instagram, like I said, but I'm pretty sure he has a YouTube channel as well. All right, let's see. So Vincent says the last few off seasons have set the team back 5 to 6 years minimum, losing down cycle. Now, obviously, he's talking outside of contract. Let's talk about that for a second. because not only we're talking about the last few offseasons, let's talk about this particular regime in general. Let's talk about the past 2 years, right?
Mhm.
How long do you really think this team has been set back? I'd say 2 to 3. I really do think.
I'm right there with you. I really don't, and I've been saying this since because I say this as a defense for Dave Gettleman, but it's also a criticism of Dave Gettleman as well because he honestly puts the staff in place to try to develop these players. But I've been saying this: our roster is not terrible. Like our roster on paper, it's not terrible, especially the defense. I could imagine a lot of different defensive coordinators working with this, like Patrick Graham. I think he's doing a fine job, but I think they could be a lot better, of course. The offense as well, although we have a bad offensive line, you look at like we just talked about the Seattle Seahawks, a bunch of these offenses, like Deshaun Watson back in Houston. As mobile as he is, Daniel Jones is not too far off from the mobility of those people. I'm not saying he is those people, but he has the mobility. I mean, there's no reason why with an offensive line like that they can't get anything going at all. Like, especially with the wide receivers that you have, you can't scheme anything open. Sterling
Thank
Shepard,
you for the
Kadarius
follow on
Toney,
Twitch, whoever that
Kenny
was.
Galladay. Yeah, like all those people are able to create separation, able to break on routes nicely, and you can't get the ball moving. It's just it's a criticism I have of Dave Gettleman, but it's also a defense I have of Dave Gettleman. He built this team lopsided, but it still doesn't look terrible. I think the only big thing that we need to focus on has been the focal point since Jerry Reese days is the
It's been the
offensive
focal
line.
point since 2010.
Exactly. It is the offensive line. That is the biggest focal point for me right now that I think is holding this team back because I think it's holding back the passing game and I think it's holding back the running game. In turn, it's making the defense stay on the field a lot longer. So if we fix that offensive line and help
This
whatever quarterback is going to
defense,
be there.
bro, this
Mhm.
defense can legitimately be like what we were saying last year. This defense could legitimately be a top 5 defense if our offense scored like 14 points a game,
Yeah. Yeah.
like 14 to 20. Which, can we shift to that topic real quick? It has only been 2 games. I say that as a disclaimer. Great, the
Mhm.
disclaimer's out of the way. But the offense under Freddie Kitchens is like way worse than it was under Jason Garrett. It's only
Here's
been two
what.
games, disclaimer, and then
Yeah.
of course second disclaimer for one of the games Daniel was out. But like still,
Here's
he's
one thing I
averaging
want.
11 points, bro.
Here's one thing I will say is that I don't think it's the same playbook as Jason Garrett had. I think it's his own playbook. He's just using things to try to help the players kind of transition nicely into his new offense. But you know, I don't want to say to give it time because we've seen like offensive coordinator or like interim offensive coordinator step in and then they perform a lot better. Like you look at the Oakland Raiders, Vegas Raiders, for example. What happened when John Gruden left? They scored 30 points per game. In a new offense. Obviously, it wasn't because of the offense, but why John Gruden left. But somebody else was calling plays there, and they wound up not skipping a beat. In fact, they were a lot better. So that's not something I really can give as an excuse, but I will say that, this is only 2 weeks under a new system. I would guess that, they're just not catching on as nicely. But I mean, by far right now, it is worse than Jason Garrett's system. Like I said, remember when I said it, that the system might be better, but are the results different? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the results are the exact same way, even
The
though
thing
even
is,
though
the
these are a
results
lot
are
worse.
the thing is as of right now, the are worse. But even with
Right.
that, I don't know if I could. I don't know if the system is better, the same, or worse. But I do know the results are worse.
Yeah, we have 1 touchdown in 2 games.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Remember, in one of those games, the defense had 4 turnovers that we didn't capitalize on. And then in the other game, which was the one we just played, they held the team to essentially 10 points in each
I
half. That's
we
amazing.
really could have won that Miami game if the offense was just this much more competent. Like, who knows? Maybe Miami doesn't even get to 20 points if we just keep up with Miami scoring points. Maybe Miami makes a mistake and, we wind up scoring off a turnover and things like that, and it could be a whole different game. But the defense did a great job in these past 2 weeks trying to give the offense a chance to win the game. Obviously, against Philly, the offense was still terrible. But we won that game based off of defense. Defense won us that game. It looked like, in Miami, the defense was really trying to give the offense a chance to capitalize and win the game for them, and they just couldn't do it.
The
They couldn't
offense.
do
What
it.
made it worse is that it seemed like the players on offense, didn't even like show up to work. They seemed so
Oh yeah.
unmotivated, so
Oh yeah,
lethargic. I was like, "Are you
Saquon looks
serious?"
completely done. Like Saquon looks completely out of it, completely demoralized, and he has a C on his chest. Think about it. The captains of your team are not even, in the right mindset. How are the rest of those players supposed to get in the mindset when the players with the C on their chest, the ones that they voted for to be captains, are just as demoralized, if not more, than the other players?
Mm-hmm. Let me get
So,
back to the chat real quick. Cowboy X Factor says, "I miss seeing basically us two play against each other in Madden." Well, now that we on Twitch, hopefully we gonna get that
oh
going again.
yeah,
It's all
oh
about
yeah.
timing, guys. That's all it really is about. Let's see here. Marjorie says Carl Banks went after Barkley and Judge and the entire Giants organization.
I heard
Boy, oh
about
boy,
that.
is he pissed at mediocrity. Can't blame him. We've been pissed at mediocrity, I feel like, for longer. Banks has. And of course, the Giants have been, yeah, like, what's his name, bro? Lawrence Taylor don't even watch the Giants anymore, bro. You know this, right?
I
Lawrence
think he
Taylor
said
doesn't
something
watch the
like
Giants.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
he
he
was
said
like,
something like
because
that.
he didn't realize that Eli retired and that we had a new quarterback. Yeah.
He not on NFL Network
He's
anymore?
probably still smoking that good or sniffing that
Yeah,
good.
yeah. He used
But
to be on
like
NFL Network, but I guess
that
he's
means he
not.
essentially hasn't watched the Giants in at least like 3 years, bro. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
There's probably been more. But yeah. Let's see here. Levan says, I think he's gonna be okay after the butterflies are gone. Who? One of the players? Shout out to Nerd Sports. Thank you for dropping that follow on Twitch. Or what are you talking about, Joe Judge? Specifically, Sophisticated Films TV. What up, man? Thank you for tuning in. He says, I feel Jones is a great straight line runner, but isn't mobile. If you look at him in the pocket and how he moves, it's rough. I'm glad you brought this up. I don't know if KB ever had or vocalized a thought similar to that before, but it's something. Have you any thoughts similar to that?
Well, in what?
He was like, DJ isn't a mobile quarterback. He's just a good straight line runner, which I completely agree with.
I completely agree with it, but I don't want to say that he's not. I've heard a lot of people say that he's not a mobile quarterback, and I would like people to define what you think mobile is, because I think he's mobile, but he's not elusive. He's not. He's not. He doesn't have great
Let me say
agility
this.
because he's
He
mobile.
he's not a running mobile quarterback.
Right,
He's
right, right.
mobile in the sense that he can escape the pocket if he needs to,
He's
and
fast, which is
occasionally pick up that first down with his legs, but
right.
he's not mobile in the modern sense of the word. He's mobile in, I guess, the is classic, I get the right word, but he's mobile in the older sense of the word, not the modern sense. The modern sense of the
Yeah,
word is guys like Kyler Murray and stuff like
yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
really
More
can run.
elusive in the pocket.
Yeah.
How I think of mobile quarterback, I just think a guy that can get out the pocket. Guys that are not mobile, are like a Dwayne Haskins or a Ben Roethlisberger. Guys like that are just not mobile quarterbacks. DJ is mobile, but he's just not, one, aware, and two, not very elusive. He can't evade pressure like that, but he can get out the pocket. I mean, he's able to use his legs to get out of it. Some quarterbacks are
All
just
he
not even
has,
able to do that.
I really disagree with the statement. All he has is straight line speed, and even then, we've commented a couple times. It looks like he's holding back, or like
Yeah, it
there's a
looks like he's
mental
gotten a
block or
lot
something.
slower. It does look
Yeah,
like he's gotten a lot slower. Yeah.
but he's
He
not
runs it looks like he runs very
agile.
flat-footed now. It looks like he's not even using his legs. He's just
Yeah.
he looks very flat-footed when he's running. He's
Shout
very
out to
straight up.
yeah Zachary in here, dropping the jokes. What in the world is Levance talking about? Eli throwing passes to Kevin Durant. Was that a commercial or something? Man,
Yeah, Eli had Kevin Durant in the Eli Manning show on the Giants TV app.
come on, bruh. He
Yeah, because
had.
KD is in Brooklyn Nets, Giants.
I hate
I
Kevin Durant.
I know, we all
I'm not a
do.
fan
I
of
was I
Kevin
was like,
Durant.
I forgot Kevin Durant was a Brooklyn Net, and I was like, well, why is KD on Eli Manning show? I'm like, oh, New York connection. But I was like, I thought the New York Giants were like a Knicks connection, not a Nets connection. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Let me get back up here. Continue to go down the chat here. Let's see. Ian Bryan says, "Who would you?" Okay, that's a question for later. I'm gonna save that for later because I don't think either of us know our answer to who we want the
Mike
next GM and coach to be.
Mike Nixon is off the bed, man. He's got a toothache. All right, Mike.
But Mike, thank you for tuning in as
Appreciate
usual,
you.
brother. Hope your toothache improves as time goes on. He's Zach says regardless of offensive coordinator, Judge's philosophy still rules the offense, which is something I've beaten to a dead horse. Yes. 4th and 2, we punted, man. You weren't there to call the game, so give me your thoughts while you heard about it and while you were on the job. When it was 4th and 2,
Um,
we were in their territory. I'm pretty sure it
yeah.
was like the only time we were in their territory the entire game, and he punted.
Yeah, I feel like I said, it's just another thing of, Joe Judge not having confidence in his team, and you know, it's not exactly wrong of him for not having confidence in the offense to convert a fourth down because every time we try it, it's really hit or miss. It's mostly miss. So I understand that, but you're not helping the team if you're constantly punting and going for field goals in fourth and short situations when your team looks like they want to stay on the field. Sometimes you just gotta have, just let them play and see and have them create their own boost of morale, have them create their own confidence. If they convert more and more fourth down, they keep moving down the field, they're gonna feel like they're unstoppable almost. And you can only go up from there. If you keep pulling your offense out when they have 2 yards to gain, and on a 4th and 2 from what the 30 something yard line, or even in some cases the
Yeah, it was a
5 yard line. We've seen
yeah.
it happen at the 5 yard line. Whereas 4th down and 2, all you need is all you need is those 2 yards. You get a first down and 4 more tries to get 3 more yards and score. We've seen those situations from Joe Judge, and he continues to have either the field goal unit come on, the punting unit come on, and it's just demoralizing to the offense. It's basically saying to the offense, Joe Judge saying to the offense that, listen, I don't have confidence in you guys. I'd rather just stick the defense out there and see what happens, or go ahead and kick this field goal because Graham Gano is money all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really feel like. And Joe Judge, I'm not gonna say Joe Judge is losing the team because it still looks like they fight for him,
I mean,
but they are looking
did you
more and more
see the way
demoralized.
when
Saquon.
not only well, I didn't see Saquon. I was about to say
Saquon's press
Cam Brown.
conference was very
Bro,
depressing.
Cam Brown, forget press conference, on the field when Judge pulled him
I didn't
aside
see
for some
that.
type of special fields thing, like Judge was like very clearly going in on him, yelling at him.
Mm.
Cam Brown looked unfazed, bro. He looked like I'm not listening to you at all. I was just like, wow.
It's hard to listen to a coach it's hard to listen to a coach that's like so strict and so about it when you're doing everything he says and you're in a situation like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you really know? Because you must not know anything because we're all listening. We're going above and beyond for this guy. We're doing everything that he's telling us to do, but you're still going out here in press conferences. I'm like, I like what I seen today. I think
Yeah,
we made
that's
some strides.
no matter
I
what, I
really like what I
definitely
seen today.
think that every Giants fan should agree on the point that Judge is becoming really stupid, his press conferences, because every single
Cookie
time he
cookie
says
cutter judge.
I like what
Cookie
I've seen
cutter
today. It's just
judge.
like, bro, no, you didn't. Stop lying to us. Like,
Yes,
no, you did
that is
not. You did
cookie
not
cutter
like
judge.
what you saw.
All his statements are all cookie cutter, man. They're all templates. They're all just like basic, vague answers. That's why I cannot stand like check this out. Pat Shermer, I hated listening to his press conferences because he always put me to sleep. And Joe Judge, I hate listening to his press conferences because I always roll my eyes. I'm like, are you serious? Did you really say that? Did you really like what you saw from Mike Glennon today? Are you serious? Like, and then he said the same thing about Jake Fromm. Dude, he's been in the office for 2 weeks, and I really like what I've seen from him so far today. Are you serious? Like, you don't even need to say anything about his production. You don't even need to lie like that. Just say, listen, it's his first 2 weeks in here. We're gonna see what happens. Right now, he's our only shot, but we have confidence in Jake Fromm. If you want to say something like that, that's fine. But don't say, oh, we really like what we've seen from him. Like he's doing great. He's doing great. He's looking really good. Like, come on, man. And nobody's even falling for that anymore. Like, I know a lot of coaches like to say that because they want to instill some sort of false hope in the players, or I mean, not in the players, or in the media or in the fan base to try to boost the morale of this franchise. But a lot of coaches do that. But man, he goes above and beyond. Like, the offensive line could give up 7 sacks in a game and say, "Oh, I think we made some improvements today." Like, you can't be that just stupid. Like, you're intentionally being stupid. Is what
And
it is.
so
I
I got
really respect. I like Dan Campbell. Like, I know we call Campbell like a joke a lot of times, and I still think he is kind of a joke. But one thing I will give Dan Campbell credit for, he will reprimand anyone in the like. He reprimanded his defense. He's reprimanded his entire offense. He's reprimanded Jared Goff. And it's not like they don't like Dan Campbell. Sometimes you gotta put a little fire out there, but light a fire under these players and see what happens. Because who was the first person that Jared Goff ran to when they got their first win? He ran right to his coach Dan Campbell, who's been Dan Campbell has been lighting Jared Goff on fire in press conferences, really laying into me. And I'm saying, like, even stuff I thought was harsh. Like, he literally said, like, Jared Goff was just like not good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they still respect him. You have to be more, more firm with these players and actually, tell the truth in the media a little bit. Stop with these cookie cutter comments. Like, if the offensive line gives up like 7 sacks one day, you can't go out there and say, I really like what I saw from them today. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Just give us, if you don't want to be so truthful, if you don't want to tell us everything, that's fine, but don't be as vague and cookie cutter and just lie. Don't just try flat out to lie to us. Otherwise, nobody's gonna care about your damn press conferences.
Mm-hmm. So, just because you brought it up, I'm just gonna ask a random, quick question. And then, wait, AB says y'all are ridiculous. The second he does that, y'all will
No,
complain
no,
too.
no, no. AB, there's a difference with Ben McAdoo, and there's a difference with like a Dan Campbell. Okay, Ben McAdoo clearly was not a leader of men. Ben McAdoo seemed like he never wanted to put blame on himself at all. And I know where you're going with that, AB, because you're thinking that if Joe Judge were to lay into a player in a press conferences, that the New York media would go off and go crazy and say that
Well, the
he's
New York
reprimanding his
media will,
player.
but he's referring to us.
Oh, I know, and that's exactly because I'm sure he remembers a couple of years ago we all laid into Ben McAdoo for throwing Eli under the bus. There's a huge difference in that. If you listen to Dan Campbell's comments, he first of all he always blames himself. First of all, Dan Campbell always blames himself, and I know that could be a little cookie cutter as well, but it's true. It all lies on the head coach. He always blames himself first. Then he lays into guys like Jared Goff, who honestly was sucking during those first couple of weeks of Detroit football, which I mean, he still kind of sucks right now, but still, Ben McAdoo was different. Ben McAdoo never, I'm talking never put responsibility on himself. It was always offensive line. It was always running game. It was always Eli. He always blamed Eli, threw him under the bus, and Eli would just take it. So that's completely different, AB. I would be so okay with Joe Judge laying into this team a little bit and saying, you know what? We suck. We're not a good team right now, and we're doing everything we can to get this get this right back on track. We are not good right now. You have to be as blunt as that is. You got to be blunt, especially in this media. Nobody wants to hear you say you like what you're seeing from a team that is 4-8 right now. Okay? Nobody wants to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to hear you say you're seeing good things and progressions on the offense when the offense is clearly abysmal.
The
So
worst offense.
what I was gonna ask you before that was because well, not randomly, but you brought his name in Jake Fromm, and so I'm gonna ask you a quick random question about Jake Fromm. Give me an over under on the chances of Jake Fromm being the savior of the New York Giants franchise. All right, so it would be
I was
percentage.
okay.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna give you the number I think it begins with, and then you'll guess what the actual number is. It's like I'll give you like a number it begins with, right?
Okay, any number you say, I'm giving you under.
All right. I'm saying okay then. So the number that I'm thinking of begins with 5. So what number do you think I'm saying?
5%, and I say under.
Under 5%.
He's not our savior. I had a
I
I was
agree.
just
I
just
agree.
memeing. I was just memeing on Twitter, and I was memeing in my job. I was just like, hey, Jake Fromm could be our Mike White, and maybe he'll actually stick around. Who knows? Maybe he takes Daniel Jones' job. I mean, I'm joking
I
about
want
that,
at this point I don't want a Mike White. I can't believe I'm saying this. I want a
right?
Taylor
I'm
Heineke, bro.
right. I
Give
want
me a
that kind of
Taylor
guy.
Heineke off the
But
couch, and this man looks legit, bro.
although I'm joking about it, Jake Fromm was like a borderline like first round prospect, before the draft came out. In that same year, I think he came out in that 20 right this past
He came
2020
out in
draft.
2020. He
Yeah,
wasn't. I wouldn't say he was like a borderline first round pick. He was just. He
it
was one.
started as that.
He was one of the top QBs. And then as
Yeah,
the process went on, people realized, oh,
mhm.
he's actually not a franchise
Yeah,
quarterback, and he ended up
that's
going to the
usually
fifth.
how it always starts. Like just like Malik Willis right now, right? Let's be real. Malik Willis is like dropping on draft boards right now. I think he's like rated as like the fifth or sixth quarterback right now in the 2022 draft. You know, he's dropping right now, like because that's what happens. But Jake Fromm was like one of those quarterbacks, you know, with like I
Continue
can't
talking. I
remember.
just gotta adjust this light. It's really
Yeah,
annoying me.
yeah, no problem. But you know, Jake Fromm was a guy that in the beginning of that college football season was regarded as potentially a first round pick, and obviously he was not that. And you know, Marjorie brings up a good point as well. He had a bad combine as well, so that also takes into it, you know, goes into play. But at the same time, it's just funny because you know a guy like Jake Fromm was supposed to be a really good quarterback in the NFL. Why not being that? And it's funny how we got him for little to nothing. We signed him up for the Bills practice squad. He's already going to start. It almost seems like a Cinderella story. So I was like, hey, maybe he's the future. Maybe he's the savior. But I'm just memeing at that point.
Mm-hmm. And then all right, let me scroll back up to get to these questions in chat real quick. Or I guess I should say comments. Marjorie says Houston Texans are waiving linebacker Zach Cunningham, which means he'll have new
That's
teammates
crazy.
soon. Go ahead.
That's crazy.
He led the
I
NFL last year in tackles, right?
Dude, Zach Cunningham was one of my favorite prospects. I think it was a 2017 draft. I wanted the Giants to draft him in the middle linebacker. He's one of the most like middle linebackers with the longest wingspans I've ever seen in my life. Um, but yeah, I like Zach Cunningham, man. I'm sure he would. I don't know if he would be cheap, but man, I would love to put him next to Blake Martinez in the future, man. That would be
If
nice
yeah, I mean, I would
if
be
he was
down
cheap.
if he
I
was
if
cheap and if we keep
hell
like,
yeah,
I mean, I
having the
really
run
want to.
stuff, having the run stuff ability of Blake Martinez, and also Zach Cunningham, as skinny as he is, he's still a good run stuffer as well. And you know, with his long wingspan, he could be a field general there, man. Him and Blake Martinez would definitely be such a good combo. I would
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Sober says, I listen to Joe Judge press conferences because the responses are flat rehearsed. I listen to for when he slips up and tosses in a nugget, is what he says.
That is literally the definition of cookie cutter, my friend. Cookie cutter,
Mm-hmm.
just a template, just a template. You know, he comes up with the same old answers, same
And
old
then
answers.
Big Blue Podcast says, you guys think there's too many voices in Saquon's head? I feel like they're trying to mold him into a player he's not. I feel that's why he's not bouncing runs because they're telling him not to. I can see that happening because
Mm,
he's, even though we always say, including myself, yo, just run up the middle. I feel like what we should say is just hit the hole because he's not a run up the middle running back, but
right,
every
right.
single running back should be a hit the hole running back if there's a hole there.
Right, right. You
What
know,
Saquon does is that he doesn't hit the hole. He should still bounce it outside if it's like, if he feels like, but actually I don't know how to phrase it. He should still bounce it outside every now and then because his best runs always come when he bounces outside and like he just goes
right.
streaking down the sideline, or he starts making people miss and he goes really far. But the thing is with Saquon is that he thinks every time he could bounce it outside, and I don't know what to tell you, but
That's
that's
his
just the
only
problem.
problem. When you have the physical ability of Saquon Barkley and you know what you can do, you take every run as if it's an opportunity to score, no matter how far away you are from the end zone. And I can definitely see that with Saquon. My thing is with Saquon, although we really want him to run in between tackles, it doesn't even matter of the point of, you know, the coaches want him to run inside, but he wants to bounce it out. I just think absolutely right. He has too many voices in his head. You know, his own voice at that, you know, with the injury bug and stuff like that. He doesn't want to get hurt. It really doesn't look like he pushes his body to the extra mile. And, you know, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, this is why I'm done with Saquon, and it's not anything personal. It's right that he takes care of his body like that because he is such an athletic, acrobatic dude that he can contort his body in any sort of way. And, you know, it can get him hurt, man. It really could get him hurt. And he has to limit the way he plays because, you know, it's not that his body is fragile, is that the body is really not supposed to do what he really does. You know what I'm saying? About especially the weight that he has on him. He's like 230 pounds. He's able to do stuff
And
that,
this
you know,
is
scat backs can do.
this is another
Mhm.
point I've been making for months as well. In addition to all of that, I mean, like, I really feel like because of the fact that he has so many voices and because of the fact that he's protecting his body, because, he's like, why would I risk all of this for a team that's losing right now? I probably
Mhm.
save myself for a team that's winning, whether it's with this team or not. I really do think it's just a matter of his clock has ran its course with the Giants, and let him hit another team that has even a slightly better offensive line than us. I feel like
Dude,
he's gonna be fine.
you know what team I feel like this man would thrive in?
What?
The 49ers.
I mean,
Saquon
they'd
on the
love to use their running
49ers.
backs,
They
but
not only do they love to use their running backs, they design power outside runs like insanely. Like all of their running backs, I don't even know half of the running backs' names. They are all successful. Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, like these guys. Who
I
are these
said we
guys?
should have drafted Elijah Mitchell, but the Giants didn't listen to me.
Hey, hey, but what when was he drafted?
Fifth
This
round, fifth or sixth.
fifth round. Like the San
I think
Francisco
and I think I mocked
49ers.
him in the 6th round, somewhere around
Kyle
that.
Kyle Shanahan is such a creative, like he's gonna be the next Andy Reid for sure. But this man knows how to pass the ball. This man knows how to run the ball. I mean, I think Saquon Barkley in that creative outside power running offense, Saquon Barkley would thrive so much in San Francisco. I really hope if we let
Exactly,
go of
yo.
Saquon, he goes to San Fran.
Shout out to Glock Roach. That's why I started looking at Elijah Mitchell in the first place, because I 100% I was convinced we were going to take Elijah Mitchell because he was a late round guy. I mocked him in the 6th, and because he was Rob Sale's dude. Rob
Mm.
Sale was the I can't remember, he was either the head coach or the offensive coordinator at Louisiana, and that man ran an offense that ran for nearly 2,000 yards with Elijah Mitchell in it. I was like, we're drafting that kid, and we didn't. You know who
Edward
else we should have
Chances.
drafted back in
Uh-huh.
2020? And you know, I'm just doing this because it might as well be time for us to plug ourselves in the offseason and draft time and whatnot. But in 2020, another running back I said we should have drafted,
James Robinson.
that ended up going undrafted was James Robinson. And I was like, let's pick this guy up in the 7th, see what he could do for us. And well, you know, James Robinson's doing James Robinson things.
Instead, we pick up a guy like Gary Brightwell, who I like. I like Gary Brightwell, but we don't use him.
Hmm.
Well, Edward Chances, 49ers might, but might not with their recent. No, I think Shanahan got an extension, didn't he?
Even if you get an extension, does it necessarily mean they won't fire you
Well,
for
they
some
would,
reason?
but it's the same way as when a big player signs big contracts, you got to pay him dead money. They
Well,
don't just
we
leave with
signed
nothing.
Odell to a contract and we traded him. So I mean,
Yeah, but
all I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it completely
yeah,
rules
but
out the chance of getting fired.
if a front office extends a coach, I don't
Let's
think
see,
they'll
when did
fire
he get
him.
extended? This year you're
Let me
talking
see if
about?
they even did that. I could be bugging out. Maybe I'm thinking of another coach.
Kyle Shanahan. It
Extension.
was last year he got extended, so not
Yeah,
this year.
yeah. Okay, so
It
it
was
was
a
last year.
6-year contract, and guess what? Ever since it was made, everybody, 49ers fans and beat reporters, said it was a mistake. So there you go.
I like. I don't know what it is about San Francisco, man. I think they have the right coach. I think they have the right team, man. They just can't.
They don't
They
have the
can't find a way
quarterback.
to win games.
That's literally it.
They
They
don't
don't
have the
have the
quarter.
quarterback.
You're
They don't have
absolutely
the
right about
quarterback, one,
Jimmy
and
G
they
is
have the
so
injury bug,
overrated.
bro. They have the injury bug too.
Yeah, Jimmy G is literally the Alex Smith of today's NFL.
That's
Like he's just
hilarious. The
yeah,
49ers QB
yeah,
is the
right?
49ers
I
QB.
feel like he's the Alex Smith of today's era. Like Alex Smith was at first. I think Alex Smith was better than Jimmy G. Don't get me wrong, but
Alex Smith
Alex
was a
Smith
first
always
overall pick.
Alex Smith always found a way to win games that wasn't because of him. Like Jimmy G, remember Jimmy G back in New England and then coming into San Francisco, he was undefeated for like like
Yeah.
2 seasons every time he started a game. Like he always found a way to win games, but it wasn't never because of him. It's just that he's a good game manager, just exactly like Alex Smith. And I that's how I feel like and it's the 49ers are going to be stagnant as long as they have him. They can't wait to put in Trey Lance, and they should have already, but
Shout out to Duran in here. Duran, I completely agree with you. He says get the O line and D line fixed and then get the QB in 2023. You on the same wavelength as us. Marjorie says I have Mitchell on my fantasy team, but I also got Fournette, and they're both killing it this year. Shout out to Edward
those are
Shannon
two
here.
sleepers, honestly.
Yeah, Edward Chan says hypothetical of the Seahawks asking for our first rounder this year and Jones, would you do it? He said I would. That's honestly not a bad deal.
Mm,
That's a very cheap deal in terms of what we're giving up. Of course, it's very expensive in terms of what we got to pay him, but just a
yeah,
first and Jones, that's very cheap. Come on, KB, that is a very cheap
I
deal.
don't think I will take it though. I
Oh,
don't care
then
about Jones. I don't care
I
about
know. Yeah, yeah,
Jones.
you're thinking about the first round pick. Then
I'm
I'm
thinking
gonna
about
go
the
back to
first
what you
round pick
said
on
earlier.
top
You
of the
said,
cap space.
yeah, yeah, I know, but going back to what you said earlier, you said if it was a good deal, you do it. That is 100% a good deal. You're not getting a better deal than that.
By a good deal, I was hoping not a first round pick
Oh, that's not happening, bro. Who's not trading a
because
first round pick for Russell Wilson?
because hey, we've seen some trades that
We're
look
talking about
stupid.
quarterbacks,
I
though.
know, I know, but he is in his 30s, well in his 30s. Let me just look at where how old is Russell Wilson?
30 or 31, one out of
And
two.
remember, and he's not. He has 30. He's 33 years old.
QBs play until they're like 40 now, bro.
I mean, only a couple. Only a couple, dude. They really don't, especially
Russell
the
Wilson
tread.
doesn't have much of an injury history, but I think he has like one injury in
He
his
doesn't
entire
have
career.
right, but remember, where does he make his money? His legs a lot. Well, he could throw. He's an amazing thrower, but he makes his money on his legs too.
That's
They're
cap.
they're not
No,
gonna
that's
last as
cap.
long, man.
This
They're
man
not
does
gonna
not make
last as
his. I'm
long.
sorry. What you just said was cap. He does not make his money on his legs.
Dude,
He's
what
an amazing quarterback.
he's one of the best passers in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. But when he first got into the league, how did he make his money?
He was a game manager when he first got in the league.
Yeah,
We're
but
really forgetting
dude,
that?
he ran for like 800, 900 yards in like his second season. Like he
Yeah, but
was
he made his money game managing the Seahawks offense so the defense could do all the work.
he was one of the quarterbacks he was one of the first quarterbacks I ever seen that was an elite passer and an elite runner at the same time. Like he was one of
But
the
you
first
just said
quarterbacks
it.
I've ever seen.
He's an elite passer. He doesn't make his money because of the
I
fact that
know,
he's an elite runner.
but what are we gonna get? What are we gonna get in a Russell Wilson that eventually is gonna lose that running? Let's be real. He's eventually gonna lose that
No, but what
deadly
you're
running
doing right now
ability.
is not what I was arguing. I'm not
Mhm.
arguing Russell Wilson for us. I'm saying
Oh.
I completely disagree with the statement that you say he made his money off his legs. I just don't think that's true.
No, I don't. A part of it. I didn't say all of it. Just because
Mhm.
I said he made his money on his legs doesn't mean I think all of it is made his money on his legs. But remember, when he came into the league, there was no quarterback like Russell Wilson, dude. That guy,
He
like,
ran for 850 in his third year.
yeah, that dude, he killed. Like, he was one of the quarterbacks that I really felt like was a great a great passer and a great runner. Like, Michael Vick and all these other quarterbacks that were fantastic runners from the quarterback position, I never thought was a great passer. Russell Wilson has one of like, forget about his running ability, is one of the best passers I've ever seen. But what I'm saying in our case for the New York Giants, especially with the offensive line that we have, if he eventually loses his touch and that running ability, and we're just making him use his elite passing ability, will that pay off? Will it pay off? Look at where the Seahawks are right now
Let's
as a
go back to the
team.
hypothetical deal that Edward Chan offered, which I'm like, you're not getting better one than that. Let's look at the most recent quarterback trade, Matthew Stafford this offseason. He went for 2 firsts and a third. And that's Matthew
Yeah,
Stafford. That's not Russell Wilson.
yeah. Well, I mean,
This
Matt Stafford's
hypothetical
still a
offer, which is
beast.
never gonna happen, is just a
I
first.
know. How old is Matt Stafford?
He has
He
to be
may be
older
just
than
a tad
Russ.
younger.
No, he has to be older because Russ came in 2011, right? And then Matt Stafford came in what, 2010, 2009?
No, they came in. No. Russell Wilson came back in 2012, I
No,
think.
11, I think.
Oh, they're the same age.
Okay, bet.
33.
There you
Okay,
go.
well then
One
I
of them is
understand
way
that
more
then.
proven than
I
the
can
other.
but you're right. I'm gonna backtrack and say, for instead of a good deal, I probably wouldn't take it at all.
And that's going back to what I was saying, man. I don't want
Yeah.
him, no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's
I'm
gonna
a
work
side
out.
I'm gonna side with you on that one. Like, just thinking about it
Yeah,
more. I
no,
don't
I can't see a way where it possibly works out for us in a good way.
Yeah, and we I know a lot of people, especially Twitter, is blowing up with like, "Oh my God, Russell Wilson coming to the Giants. Oh my God, you guys really think? Look at where the Seattle Seahawks are right now. This is a team that he wanted to leave in the beginning of this offseason, and look where they're at right now. They're
Listen,
4-8.
Russell has supposedly wanted to come to us for like 2, 3 years
Yeah,
now, man.
yeah, but look at them. They are 4-8, and they did not touch that offensive line. We didn't touch the offensive line. How is Russell Wilson supposed to make that much of a difference at this point of his career to help this team win a chip? How?
My whole thing with, like I was saying earlier, just to restate my point, because I'm seeing what the
Exactly,
chat is
Black
saying right
Roach.
now. My entire thing earlier was like, I don't see a way. Well, first of all, with the money, and then realistically, what we have to give up for him, I just don't see a way that we build a winning team around him anytime soon. It doesn't
Exactly.
make any type of sense
Like,
for us to trade to
don't
Russell
let
Wilson.
me tell you something. If we were in a 2000 and like a 2013 Denver Broncos, right? When they traded for Peyton Manning. Oh no, they even traded for Peyton Manning, right? They just picked him up because they released Peyton Manning, right? The Colts.
I
The
I
Colts
think I'll have
released
to
him, or
check on
they
that.
either way, we are not the 2013 Denver Broncos where they are somewhat close to making a Super Bowl run, and they go ahead and bring in a very old veteran quarterback in there to try to win a Super Bowl. We are not in any way, shape, or form that in that sense ready for Russell Wilson. We are not ready for Russell Wilson. We bring in Russell Wilson in here, we're gonna damage our cap. We're gonna
We're
damage draft
legitimately one of the
capital.
worst teams in the league, man. You think he's gonna do
I
good
I
here?
am I am absolutely in awe why Russell Wilson would even think about coming over here. I love Russell
Bro,
Wilson.
like
If
I've
we
been
were in a
saying,
position like that,
he
if we
has
were in a position,
supposedly wanted to come to us for years, man. I don't know
yeah,
how much of it is
I
like him
know.
actually wanting to come here or him just padding that list so he could get out of Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I if we were in a position, dude, if we had a great offense, well, not even a great, if we had a good offensive line, a decent offensive line, I would be so on board with Russell Wilson. I'd be confident that we could probably win a championship with him. But if you look at the Seattle Seahawks and look at that offense and look at their defense, how different are they from the New York Giants? That team is 4-8 as well. They have great wide receiving core. We have a decent wide receiving core, still can't move the offense. They have a terrible offensive line. We have a terrible offensive line. Their defense, I guess, is worse than ours. But that makes no difference. That team is still 4-8. You know, although Russell Wilson is there, I'm not saying it's Russell Wilson's fault, and I'm not saying that he can't help the team, but how different is it going to be? Like Deshaun Watson with the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson had a career year, and that team went 4-12. There's
So
only so much people put a quarterback to do.
I want to get to the question section real quick, which is going to be a short one this episode, because there was only one member that dropped their question back over on the community post. Real quick shout out to Authentic in the chat. For those
What
of you
about
that love
Authentic?
the way the new mics sound, this man literally spent, I want to say, about like 6 to 7, maybe even 8 hours on a call with me, helping me set up this mic and get
Nice.
all the filters and stuff on it. So shout out
That's
to
so cool, man.
Authentic in there. He says the two real reasons why the Seahawks are struggling: the new offensive coordinator from the Rams,
The
and
broken
Russ
finger,
has a
yeah.
broken finger. Let's not act like this year dictates Russ' status. I
Oh,
agree
no,
with
it
you,
doesn't at all.
which goes back to me saying Russ is gonna go for something muy expensivo in
Yeah,
terms of a
yeah,
trade,
yeah.
man.
Don't get me wrong. I love me some Russell Wilson, man. That man throws a very, very pretty football. Um, but at that same what I'm saying is if we bring in Russell Wilson in here, I
I just
know
don't
the
think we
broken
can build a
finger
winning team around him in
in
like the next
time.
2 to 3 years.
Exactly, and then I feel like we're just gonna be wasting draft capital. We're gonna be wasting, cap space, and then we're gonna have to go ahead and look for another quarterback. Probably miss out on Bryce
I
Young.
honestly feel like we're gonna waste his talent, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah.
to waste his talent.
I would honestly feel the same way I feel like about Kenny Galladay right now. How many people wanted Kenny Galladay in here, including myself as well, but I wasn't on board initially with bringing in Kenny Galladay. Let me make that clear. But once the talk started heating up, I was definitely in support of it. But same thing I said when we were thinking about bringing in Kenny Galladay. I mean, what Kenny Galladay is great, but I feel like we're just gonna damage his career. I feel like we're just gonna damage it because we just can't find a way to get people the ball. Same thing with the quarterback position. How are we gonna find a way to protect the quarterback to deliver the ball? I don't understand how Russell Wilson's automatically gonna fix that. He literally wanted to lead the Seahawks last year because of the offensive line.
And now let's get officially to the questions part of the stream.
Yes, sir. Can't hear it, but yes.
Shout out to Calvin, the one member that dropped the question this week for Young Guns Podcast. For those of you that don't know, especially if you're a member, you're probably missing out on this. Every time we do an episode, the day of, I drop a community post specifically for members where we highlight your questions, and we really spend like just a good amount of time trying to get into it and answer it and talk about it. Calvin says, lots of players being injured on artificial turf compared to grass. Of course, shout out to Miz. He was one of the biggest fans on here talking about turf versus grass and gave a really good explanation for it. Calvin continues to say, with emphasis on player safety, do you think the NFL will have a say or will they just leave it up to the owners? So my thing, I'll answer first, and I'll kind of give my best recollection what Miz said, and his his explanation was really good. With turf, players when their cleats go into turf, it's really hard for the cleats to come out. It basically sticks a lot better in turf than it does natural grass. And players are also wearing longer and longer cleats nowadays, I think is what he's saying, so that they have good grip and they don't slip on the turf. But the counter effect to that, or I guess the
Yeah.
consequence of that, is because you have players today that are more athletic than ever, players that are bigger, stronger, faster, more agile than they ever were in the history of the world, because with each generation, you just get more and more athletic freaks and it's become more and more the norm. Saquon Barkley is a great example. The more and more they do that, and the more and more they're playing on turf where their cleats are stuck longer, when their leg then tries to move and the heel is stuck, but the leg is moving forward, that's how you tear tendons and that's how you tear muscles. And you have a lot of the injuries we're seeing, especially specifically to MetLife Stadium in the past 2 to 3 years, with all the injuries that
Mhm.
happened, not only with the Jets and the Giants, but also the 49ers, a great example of that as well. And it sounds like something so simple and even so what you call it, just so small that you wouldn't really think it's actually a thing, but it is. There is a major difference between playing with turf and natural grass, and I do think there is a major correlation between injuries on turf compared to injuries on natural grass. And so, because of
Mhm.
that, I do think the NFL should somehow step in. But ultimately, it is going to be left up to the owners. I think the Giants and Jets have already confirmed they will be switching back to natural grass soon. But yeah, let me hear your
Oh,
thoughts on it.
yes,
And
nice.
shout out to Jaden the Champ, man. But the thing is, okay, KB, it's not even going to be next season, what makes no sense. I think they say it's going to be 2023 or something, which is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
But one thing I will say from personal experience, I definitely prefer natural grass over turf any day. I have like 6 football fields about 30 minutes from where I live from where I practice at, and it sucks. It takes a toll on your feet and your shins and everything. Like the amount of, I don't know, resistance you get from the turf. It's hard. First of all, sometimes it's hard to really stick your cleat in there, and especially when you're like taking off on a release or something like that, or even like Blake Martinez's injury. That's something that is caused by the turf because he was like in kind of like he had both his knees bent, and he kind of got juked out a little bit. You know, Blake Martinez's injury where he tore his ACL kind of got juked out a little bit, and his body was moving, but his knee down to his leg was not, and that's how his knee buckled, and that's how he tore his ACL. Um, One thing I will say, I don't know who created turf. I hate playing on turf. I despise it. It's not pleasant. It doesn't feel like, it feels like you're running on cement sometimes. It really does. When you have certain cleats, I wear really
I don't
light
know who
cleats.
created turf, but the reason turf was created was to save money, even though these owners are making
Yeah,
billions of dollars. How much
yeah,
are you
but
really saving by not watering and taking care of natural grass, bro? What, a couple
exactly.
thousand a year? Like, come on, bro.
Some natural grass, some sodded, some solder or whatever, man. Like I could play that, like, well, where we play our football games, that is natural grass, and it's so much different from the practice field that I go to. But one thing I will definitely say is that natural grass is so much better. But as
In
far as that
terms of
goes,
now,
I
yeah. In terms
that's
of going to
definitely
what he
gonna
was
be
saying, should the
uh
owners, do you think the owners are going to be the ones that end up with it, or do you think the
I think
NFL should step
ultimately
in?
ultimately the NFL will step in if the owners don't respond nicely, because first of all, there is no reason why the NFL shouldn't, if they're preaching about player safety and they're going as far as, making sure players' feelings aren't hurt with taunting rules. They definitely should make sure players' ACLs aren't being torn because of these turf fields. And I think eventually, if the owners, I think they're going to leave it up to the owners to make that decision at first. But if things start ramping up and everybody, and there are some, owners that just won't budge, they're eventually going to make it where everyone has to use natural grass. And I think it's so much better for the NFL. I think it's going to be so much better for injuries. I think we're actually going to see better football being played. If I'm being honest with you, we're going to see a lot better football being played when it comes to bringing in those natural grass fields. But yeah, I think the owners will at first be led with the responsibility, but I think if they don't budge and it's been enough time, I think the NFL is eventually gonna take control and try to make that a mandate or something like that.
Marjorie says, real grass is the way to go. Sedan Smith, smart owners will roll out the grass. The sooner, the better. AB, John Mara is a cheap guy. He'll probably start a GoFundMe for the grass. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
I'm honestly shocked that the Giants are and the Giants and the Jets are gonna put natural grass in MetLife. I'm really shocked that you just said that.
Sober
But
Party says, happy that we're finally pushing the turf needs to go narrative. Hey, man, you welcome. Once again, shout out to Miz. He was really the first person that brought it to my attention. The Rand says you could literally have volunteers water. I would volunteer to water the grass, bro.
hell yeah, man!
Like, are you
I'll
kidding me?
freaking I'll
Going
freaking
back
live
to
stream the
like
whole time.
going back to once again, how much are they really saving? A couple thousand in $1 billion team? Like, there's literally no reason that every team
I
doesn't
know,
have a
it really
natural
there's
grass
really, and how
like
many
to
times have we
field.
how many times have we seen where yeah, like Houston for a couple of years. I think Houston uses turf. Houston for a couple of years had a lot of injury problems on their field. Sometimes they would have to completely take off their field and put a new field in. I mean, that's happened a couple of times. In MetLife, it seems to happen in MetLife as well. The 49ers use natural grass. I don't know what the hell is going on with them. But I think maybe they don't. I don't know, but I know the 49ers have a lot of field problems. But
G-Man says, I wonder if it's specific to New Jersey. Once again, going back to Miz, I don't recall everything he said, but this man brought up like some straight research and facts. It's not specific to New Jersey. You could look at any team in the NFL that has turf and find, I guess the injury numbers. But he says the company providing the turf needs to be held liable if they issued a garbage product. I guess, yeah, you do have a point there as well. Authentic says a lot of it has to do with how football players are built. I agree with you because that's going back to what I'm saying. The more and more you progress in time, each generation just keeps getting more athletic, bigger, stronger,
oh yeah,
faster. They just become more and more getting to like that peak athleticism of the human body. He says large quads, large legs, but ligaments don't get stronger. Notice how basketball players don't tear ACLs as much as the NFL. I definitely
agreed.
agree with you there, even though they're two different type of contact sports. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you can't make
Well,
the ligaments
yeah,
stronger.
well, as far as how the knees and legs are responding to the
Yeah,
ground,
yeah, that, yeah.
it's so obviously they're playing on hardwood floors, and it's just like a lot smoother, and they're not stuck to the ground like turf is,
But
man.
his point still stands the same. It's like you have bigger muscles, but your ligaments will always there's
right.
always going to be a certain limit that they could be pushed to.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've like made a cut and I like rolled my ankle because the turf is just too damn, I don't know, just stiff, my cleat gets stuck in there. How many times I rolled my ankle doing that? But yeah, I hate turf. Hate turf.
So Dan, now you're asking me to look up. I could look it up right now, and I'll see if a quick Google search will do anything. He says how many injuries will be avoided. Let me see
A
if I
lot.
look up just
A lot.
injuries on turf.
If you look at most of like speaking of that, exactly. I
Okay, so
mentioned that
this
was the
is
first thing.
this.
Mentions the Blake Martinez injury. That's the first thing I mentioned. The Blake Martinez injury. His
So
literally his feet couldn't move with his knees.
here's some staggering numbers for y'all. This was during a study conducted during 2017 and 2018, so a couple years ago. But here's why the numbers are truly staggering. There was a total of 953 NFL player injuries during that time. Out of the 953, 585 of them were on turf.
Wow.
Can I get a percentage real quick? 585 divided by 983. So because I use my my key number pad, it made all the sound go off. That's around 60% of all the injuries being on turf. And then 386 was on natural grass.
That number could be a little
It could
misleading.
definitely be misleading depending on how many stadiums have yet turf.
Not even that. Then you have to really factor in how many percentage of those injuries were because of the turf, because there could be injuries with arms, ribs because of
Mm-hmm.
actual contact injuries, but speaking of torn
By the
ACL,
way, for the
non-contact
number
torn
I just
ACLs.
questioned, how many teams play with turf? It's only 15. So even then, that's still a staggering number. That's not even
Right,
half of the
right,
NFL.
right, right. So I mean, you especially you have to look at like specific injuries, like torn ACLs, because those are really a big factor. Torn ACLs are the worst injury in sports. If you look at just on video, most of the torn ACLs in the league, and I don't have a number, I don't have a statistic, but I can definitely say this from an anecdotal standpoint. Um, Most of them are because of the turf. Most of them are because of the turf. You look at a bunch of these injuries. I remember Stephen Tulloch. You guys remember Stephen Tulloch, the middle linebacker for the Detroit Lions, literally did a sack celebration and tore his ACL. I think that was on a turf. I
How
think
many
that was
years
on
ago was
turf.
that?
That was about, I think, 2014, 2015.
That's a minute ago. But Steven Sulick,
Stephen Tulloch.
Tulloch,
Yeah, torn ACL celebration, sack celebration.
really?
Literally did a sack celebration, tore his ACL. And if I'm not mistaken, that was in Detroit, and they play with turf in Detroit.
At that time?
I believe that for a long time they played, even going back to Barry Sanders, they played turf.
Shout out to Vance. Vance. I haven't eaten a banana on stream in a minute. You're right about that. You're right about that. Oh my god, did y'all hear that? I don't know if you heard that crack or not.
Whoa.
But yeah, let's see here. Sounds painful. Sober Party says tore my MCL on turf. Classic turf surface injury.
Let
Kid
me
got
see.
stuff and he rolled up on my leg. My foot got hung up in the turf. Grass would have given away, so my knee tendons broke with first. That definitely sounds painful. How
I
long
have
ago
it
was
here.
that, man? Soul Party, obviously you record now. And yo, shout out to Soul Party. That man is a hunter, man. That man is a good hunter. I've always wanted to go hunting. And let me know when you hopping on Halo Infinite multiplayer, Soul Party, because I'm running with as many people as I can on Halo Infinite multiplayer, bro. You already know. You already know. But no, Soul Party. Let me know. That was, I'm guessing, during the football game. And yeah, he said it himself. It was
I have
natural
it here.
grass. His whatchamacallit, his leg would have just, gave away, but it did not. Got stuck. Bam, torn. Uh, let's see. Sedan says different types of turf. MetLife has to be the worst. Not not sure. Wouldn't be surprised if it is. San Fran for a while had a lot of injuries on their stadium as well, Levi Stadium. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. But we never got to address the very first topic I brought out, which is funny because we're over an hour in. But you know about the carpenter, right? What do you think about that in that situation?
What was the carpenter? What?
All right, so
Maybe I'm out of the loop.
this I'm sure a lot of people, if not everybody in the chat, knows about it. And this is about to be like the billionth time I talked about it, but it's great because you don't know, which means it's actually a new perspective on the whole situation. So last Monday, we found out at 7 p.m. that Daniel Jones had that a neck injury, right, and that he's going to be doubtful for Miami.
Mm-hmm.
5 hours before that was officially released by the media and the press, at around 2 p.m. on Twitter, a friend of a carpenter that works for the Maras tweeted out that Daniel Jones is going to be ruled out for Miami with a neck injury, but the Giants are going to try to play it off as if it's like, doubtful, and that he's actually going to be out for the entire season, and the Giants are going to try to play it off as if it's doubtful. He was kind of implying he's not sure if he's out for the season because of the neck or if he's out for the season because they're done with him. It was, left up to interpretation. And but he was saying those things, and then of course 5 hours later we got that. A couple days later we officially get that he's out, and then a week later he's out again for this week. And it's like they're continuing to say it's like a week by week, day to day thing, but it's like the more and more time that
He's out for the
passes,
season.
it's looking like he's out for the season. And this kind of even solidifies, I guess, the legitimacy of that Carpenter guy, because since then that tweet has been deleted. So I don't know what you think about all that, man. And people have
I
been making
definitely think
a whole bunch of jokes about it, like referencing the Carpenter and stuff on Twitter
I
and all
definitely
that.
think it's true because nobody's even talking about Daniel Jones like eventually getting healthy. They already ruled him out of this game, and they like as soon as Mike Glennon was in concussion protocol, they were talking about Jake Fromm starting. Like they're not even talking about Daniel Jones anymore. So it's like, yeah, it could be true. Could be
What
true.
does that say to you though, that a Carpenter has that information that works for the Maras?
Maybe he was
Is it
working
a
on.
whistleblower or is it actually a carpenter, bro? I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe that's his code name. Well, who
Right?
knows? Maybe.
I don't know, man. The Maras out here talking about all their business in front of their employees, man. Like their employees don't got
Hey
social
man,
media or
maybe he's
something.
not a car. Like I said, maybe he's not even actually a carpenter. Maybe he actually works in the front office somehow, some way. Maybe he just works in the building and overheard something and called himself the carpenter. Who knows?
hmm I agree with you, AB. I completely agree with you. Neck injuries depend. It really does depend case by case. But I also read somewhere that DJ has to go get surgery, and recovery from that surgery anyway is gonna be at least like 2 to 3
At
weeks.
this point, dude, who cares? Y- who cares at this point? I want to see a circus. Show me Jake Fromm now. I want to see Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm is gonna be Stewie from
I
that one episode of
I
Family
want
Guy
to see. I want to
when they
see.
got that man on Pee Wee football. He takes the
Listen,
snap and he says, "All right, let's go." And then he looks up and he said, "And nobody's blocking."
dude, I want to see an offense with Clayton Thorson, who we just signed on the practice squad. You know, he sucks. I want to see an offense with Clayton Thorson, the man who became the most hated New York Giants
Can we
quarterback
see
in
Brian
history.
Lewerke? I haven't seen Brian Lewerke hit the
No,
field yet.
screw that. I want to see Clayton Thorson and Gary Brightwell. Okay, I want to see a random tight end. I want to see all. I want to see a circus. Let's go out with a bang here. Okay, I don't want to hear about. Oh man, I really don't know if Daniel Jones is gonna play this. Who cares? Who cares? We suck. We suck. At this point, I'm just watching for comedy. I don't even care. I stopped looking at the stats. I stopped looking at the
Bad
playoff
Giants
picture
football
way
is
below.
better than no Giants football, but regardless, it's still bad
Exactly.
Giants
That's why I
football.
want to see a circus with the New York. How I want to see a circus, man. They're all clowns anyway, right? If we're gonna go out with a bang, I want to see it happen. I want to see it
If we're
happen.
gonna go out with a bang, can we finally see Matt Pert over Nate Solder?
Oh yes, listen, man. I want everything to change. Okay, I want everything to change. I want
What
everything
do
to
you, what do you
change.
think about the quote that came out? It was like earlier last week. What they said, how they literally said, we genuinely believe that Nate Solder is a better player snap to snap than Matt Pert.
Who said that?
Rob Sale and Joe Judge.
Oh God. Well, I guess they have to defend that because he wound up starting. So you know what I'm saying. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But
You
listen,
just got
man,
no
I want
comment.
no, nothing. I don't even care about their comment. I don't give a damn about the New York Giants right now. I don't care. I don't care about Joe Judge and his cookie cutter comments because what's the point of even listening to his press conference? Let's be real, guys. Do we really get any information
You want me to keep it
from
real with you?
Joe
I
Judge?
haven't listened to a Joe Judge press conference since 2020. So even before we had a bad year this year, which was from the
I
very
know.
beginning, I haven't listened to a press conference of his in like over a year.
It's ridiculous, man. I don't care about his press conferences. I don't care who starts on Sunday. I don't care who's quarterbacking. I don't care if Saquon Barkley's healthy. I don't care how many wide receivers we're gonna go out with because they're all hurt. I don't care. I
Yo,
just
shout
want
out to Pharaoh Cooper.
Pharaoh Cooper, the boss. All right. Listen, dude. I don't care who's out there. Just put on a jersey, stick a fan in there or something like that. I don't care. I want to see a circus. I want to see chaos. That's what I want to see right
Can
now at the
John
end of the
Ross
season.
please get targets? This man has done nothing
Gonna
but
get a
good things
John
for
Ross.
us. John Ross. He's done nothing but good things for us every single time he gets the ball, and we don't get him the ball.
Yeah.
Even when Mike Glennon was in there, John Ross wasn't being used,
50-yard
bro.
passes. All
Like,
of them are
come
always
on.
contested. All of them are always reviewed, but I don't care. 50-yard passes, you know what I'm saying? Uh Listen, man, I just want to see chaos. I don't like I don't want to come on here for the rest of the season and talk about who's gonna start and are we worried that Saquon's gonna finish the season or are we worried that Kenny Galladay's not gonna get a I don't care anymore. I
That's
don't
great because
let's just laugh.
it gives me a really good segue to transition to what I want to talk about for like the last 10 to 15 minutes, and we are in the last 15 minute segment of
Uh-huh.
the today's episode. How about those Patriots?
Oh, they're good.
Mac Jones?
Who? Mac,
Mac
dude, dude,
Jones?
dude. I thought I was. Listen, man. I don't
We
know
were
why
the
I
only
had.
dudes on the Mac
Yes,
Jones
dude.
train
I
last
had.
offseason,
I'm not
bro.
even gonna listen. I don't
And the
really have
man
a
threw
lot
for
of.
3 passes.
I never. I never had a lot of draft crushes, right? But
Yeah.
Mac Jones. Remember the whole 49ers thing with drafting Mac Jones number 3 overall. I was like, I I don't mind that too much. Maybe I think Trey Lance is a better pick there, maybe a better quarterback right now. But it's not like I hate Mac Jones. I honestly, like, I don't know. A lot of people were saying that Mac Jones was not a top 10 pick. Even still, people still say that in hindsight, even in hindsight, he probably wasn't a top 10 pick because
Well, he
of
went
what
15,
he
so it
was.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I loved Mac Jones, dude. I
We
thought he
both
was.
we both
I don't
loved him
know
so much.
who. I don't know who in their right minds called him a game manager. I don't know if it was because he was a, you know, I'm not even, I don't know. And people always thought he was a game manager. He had a noodle arm. He didn't have a great arm. He couldn't lead his. I don't know who the hell said that, but this man had one of the most accurate passes for an Alabama quarterback I've ever seen because Alabama quarterback has been terrible before the most recent quarterbacks. But Mac Jones definitely one of those better guys out there, bro.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Authentic, you ain't tripping. You hear this quality,
You hear it is. I mean, I'm listening to his webcam right now, so
crispy.
I can't hear the crisp.
Yo, just
But
go back and play like five
yeah,
seconds of the replay, and you'll
definitely
hear
gonna
it,
do
bro.
that.
It does sound completely amazing. Once again, shout out to Authentic. But
Yo,
yeah,
Authentic,
no.
if I get a mic, bro, hit me up. If I get a new
What are
mic,
you
because
running with right now? You're
I'm
running with a
still,
UBS, a USB mic.
dude, I'm still running with a USB Blue Yeti, bro.
Yeah.
Basic. Back to the
How much
basics.
was the Yeti back in the day when you got it?
150. They're probably really cheap now.
150. Goddamn, this was like
Dude,
80.
I got this mic. I want to say since 2015 I had this mic.
Okay, yeah,
It's
that's
been
probably I guess early in its life cycle. But
yeah,
no, this
dude.
guy, I didn't even get it brand new. I actually got Amazon renewed because my friend Abed who makes music and like random plug, go check out Abed's music and I do help produce it every now and then.
Mhm.
He uses this to record some of his songs. Not also when he goes to a studio, he's using whatever the studio has. But when he's in his room, he uses one of these and he's like he got his Amazon renewed. I was like, all right, bet I'll try it out. And well, clearly it was good
Bet
enough.
I need to
Amazon
do that
renewed it was
because
$80, and then the brand new price isn't even that much more. It was like 90 or
bro, I
95 or
be
something.
messing. I don't know what I listen. As far as audio goes, I have no clue what I'm doing. So I'd be on Audacity just like
Oh,
for an
look,
hour, just trying
authentic,
to figure
authentic
something
got you
out.
even with the Yeti, bro.
Hell, oh, even with the Yeti, bro. Oh man,
See,
if you make it, honestly, I used to think the Yeti was the best thing in the world until I found out there were other mics out there because everybody, all YouTubers like promoted this thing just because it was a budget mic. But I used to think this thing was like godly, but then I figured out, like how much like nasty, like I don't know, like background sound I have, and trying to compress it, and
it's
just
not
like
even like
sounds
it sounds
all
terrible right now. It does sound pretty good and just based by
yeah,
itself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But getting
yeah.
back to like the Patriots, we bring that up. What a run! Oh, excuse me. What a run
Nice.
and a turnaround they've made. What is it? 7 straight games, going from 2-4 to 9-4. First place in the AFC East. Is Bill Belichick back on top? Like, what do you know about this?
Yeah, he just needed a quarterback capable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Cam Newton, but I just don't think he was I the offensive coordinator's name escapes me. I know
McDaniel
I
didn't know how to use him
yeah,
properly
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Josh
Yeah.
McDaniels. John McDaniel probably didn't know how to utilize a quarterback like Cam Newton because Cam Newton, let's be real, Cam Newton is a different type of quarterback. You gotta Yeah, I don't think the Patriots really run that kind of offense for Cam Newton. But they bring in Mac Jones in there. Oh my God! I mean, he's just like, although Mac Jones kind of plays like a game manager, his skill set is not of a game manager. Like he can really fit the ball in tight spaces. He can really have a beautiful touch pass. I mean, he even throws wide receivers open, which is hard for a rookie quarterback to do. You don't see a lot of rookie quarterbacks doing that. He even throws rookie quarterbacks open. Even when they don't look open, like he could throw a running back wheel route that's completely covered and it still gets completed to a running back. Like I've seen it already. Like what he's doing over there is
But
amazing. He's
shifting
definitely gonna
off of
win rookie of
Mac
the
and
year.
just talking about Belichick and the Patriots in general, are they back on top?
Oh, the Patriots, hell yeah. The Patriots, hell yeah. All they needed was Mac. All they needed was Mac. And like I said, that's nothing to say. That's nothing to say wrong of Cam Newton. It's just that Mac Jones just fits that offense a lot better. It just fits that offense a lot better. I'm not saying Mac is even better than Cam. Well, maybe he is right there at this point. At this point.
Last year we were saying
Um,
it would be crazy if Tom Brady in his first year with the Bucks won a
won
Super
the
Bowl
Super Bowl. Yeah,
and what
they
ended
did.
up being in their home stadium. Now
Yes.
this year I'm
Yeah.
saying it would be crazy if Tom Brady and the Bucks meet Mac Jones and the Patriots and Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl. What's
I
the
would,
chances of that
dude.
happening,
I
bro?
would love that. And if Mac Jones wins, bro, I'm buying a Mac Jones jersey. Buying a
Yo, it's
Mac Jones
hilarious
jersey.
because I hate the Patriots. I don't hate Tom Brady. I'm very
Right.
indifferent on Tom Brady. I reluctantly accept him as my GOAT. But I would love that Super Bowl matchup, bro. I would
I
absolutely
would love that. And
love
if
that Super
Mac
Bowl
Jones
matchup.
wins and actually was like on the new sheriff in town, you know what I'm saying? Like on the Tom Brady who in New England? Tom Brady who? If
Hmm.
you were to do that and beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl, I mean, well, I know we're speaking a little too soon because I don't think the Patriots are well equipped to survive a whole playoff run. I think they'll slip up once. But man, if that would happen, there will be definitely another 10 jersey in my collection here. There'll
Oh,
be another
word.
10 jersey. Yeah, yeah.
One thing I gotta start doing right now, so I'm using like you guys are
Yeah,
hearing
Kendrick Bourne
the
authentic.
compressed
Yeah.
audio. One thing I gotta start doing, I'm just looking at this. It's been annoying me the entire stream, but I was just like to fix it would take because I'm capturing my actual screen, you'd see everything.
Mhm,
Man, the camera just for some reason in StreamYard looks terrible. Like it looks so washed out, so white. But when
mhm.
I open it in OBS, it's completely fine. I gotta start using the OBS virtual cam more, which once again is something else I learned about from Authentic. So definitely, yo, listen, you better hit that man up. But yeah, no, that
Facts, facts.
offense. I mean, we saw it with the Bills game. Of course, it was 60 miles an hour winds, but still, regardless, that run game is really, really good. They have a really different offense over there
Oh,
now.
yes, yes. Freaking Damian Harris, even Ramondre Stevenson, Brandon Bolden. I mean, all those guys can run. Like, you look at the last game, like the last game they threw 3 passes, bro. If you would have showed me that stat line and say Mac Jones started this game and they won and he showed you only threw 3 passes, I would have thought that Mac Jones got hurt early in that drive. He survived the whole game with throwing 1 pass through like the first 3 quarters, let's be real. Okay? It was the rest of the 2 passes came at the, later stages of the game where they just try to convert third downs. And dude, they could successfully they frustrated the Buffalo Bills so much that Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde literally walked off the press conference because the media was roasting them of being beat by a team that only threw 3 passes. Like at that point, you know what's funny? I watched a bit of that game. I never saw the Buffalo Bills really stack the box for the Patriots. Like they really were like anticipating a pass at some point. You would think through 3 quarters of the game and they only threw one pass that maybe you should start defending the
Yeah,
run. You know,
right.
maybe you should stack the box and throw your safeties down. Like
Because
unless they
listen,
were trying to
what was more
unless they were
hilarious about that, bro, is that this is the same Bills team that in a playoff game ran the ball like 3 times.
exact.
That's what
Oh
made it
yeah,
so
yeah,
funny
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, man. It was them
hmm
facing their exact opposite on the offensive side of the ball.
Exactly,
It was hilarious for me.
exactly. And it's honestly, I don't think, I think if I'm being real, I think Belichick was memeing. I really think he was. I think he was just trying to show, "Hey, look what I can do. I can win a game with just running the ball." Like I really thought freaking Bill Belichick really thought that he could really just win a game with running the ball. Because honestly, I know the excuse was the winds. The winds were so breezy.
I mean, bro, it was
Josh
literally 50 miles an hour winds,
Oh,
bro.
I
It
I
was
I get that, I
ridiculous.
get that, but even Josh Allen threw the ball and not I mean, there was still some little bit of wind action, but not so much where you only had to throw 3 passes in the whole game and
Oh,
only
yeah,
complete 2 of them.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? At that point, Bill Belichick was just
But I
memeing.
also
He was
felt
just
like he threw 2 passes in the first quarter and they were doing more than fine. They were like up the entire game, I believe. So that definitely has something to do with it as well. It was just like,
oh, I
yo,
I know that for
we're up
sure.
the entire game and we don't even got a pass. Let me continue with this.
I know that for sure, but they were literally like there was one drive where they got backed up to 3rd and 17, and they were, like, almost near midfield, and they ran the ball. I was like, "Dude, are you serious? You ran the
Did they
ball
get the
almost in
did they
there."
get the conversion?
No, they only got, like,
Okay.
3 yards, but why it's like, "Bill, really?" I mean, if he would've got that, you would've saw him smiling, you know?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to
Oh,
John
man.
Spain Sports. Thank you for tuning in, man. He says he's gonna be out because he's about to head to bed, but thank you for tuning in and showing the respect, the support. For some
The
reason, I was
support.
thinking
Show
respect in
that
my head.
respect. Show that
Sedan
respect.
says Mac Attack. For those of you, y'all need to check out Chisel Don. It's hilarious, dude. I've had him on the channel before. If I have the chance, I will have him on the channel again. Great
Dude, put him on
comedian that
Young
does
Guns, bro.
NFL.
Let's roast the Steelers together, bro.
I don't have the chops, the comedic chops to do that. He will destroy us. But for those of
He
you that don't
would.
know, he's a comedian that does hilarious NFL commentaries. If you know Urinating Tree is very similar, and I think him and Urinating Tree actually know each other. I personally prefer Chiseled. Like Chiseled, his humor is in
Yeah, his
line a
vibe
lot
is
more with
better.
my
Yeah,
humor,
his
man.
yeah,
Way
his vibe
more.
is a lot more chill. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But no, the reason I said that is because Sedan says Mac Attack, and it reminds me every time Chisel does an impression of like the Cowboys fan is what he does. And he says Dak Attack, Zeke is back. Like that's what he says all the time. Every time the Cowboys do something good, he's like, yeah, yeah, we just won. Dak Attack, Zeke is back. We going to the Super Bowl. Like it's hilarious, bro.
Yup,
It's
yup.
absolutely hilarious. AB says, do you think Xavier McKinney would have the best? No, would beat out Micah Parsons for defensive rookie there if he was a rookie? That's such a complicated question. I don't know, bro. I don't know. You're asking me a lot. You're asking me
Yeah.
to
What was the
imagine
question?
if Xavier was a rookie this year and then saying if what he did this year would beat Micah Parsons out for defensive rookie of the year. I don't think so. Even though I think he's having a really good year, Micah Parsons is
No,
having an
because
amazing
because
defensive rookie year.
Xavier McKinney, although he has 5 interceptions, he really shows up in flashes. Micah Parsons has been like a complete force the entire season. Like the entire season, like they threw almost every single snap. Micah Parsons is killing it right now. And honestly, I don't regret not wanting. Obviously, I have no part in the Giants drafting who they drafted, but I don't regret not getting Micah Parsons. If that sounds crazy, it's just that like
But my concerns were very valid. The man was the booty warrior, bro. Like in the locker room, my concerns were very, very valid for why I didn't want, like,
you
why I
just
was just so
hold
iffy
on.
about having him on my
Did you just
team, man.
call this man the booty warrior? Warrior.
Because he was, by
This
all
man.
accounts and purposes, around draft time, he was. I'm sorry. If I'm not about to excuse Big Ben, I'm sorry, Big Rapist, because that's what he is. I really don't know why Big Ben isn't in jail
Right.
right now. I'm not about to
Well,
excuse Michael Parsons.
he's leaving this year, so it's time for Dwayne Haskins.
I mean,
It's it's
they're probably
it's
gonna draft somebody. I don't know, or get somebody off
It's
the
Haskins
free
era,
agency
bro.
market.
Haskins era.
We'll see.
Malik
But
Willis to Steelers.
that's gonna be
Thank
it,
you.
guys. We're right there at the 90-minute mark. Before I give everybody the shout out, any last thoughts there, KB? Maybe there's a topic we didn't get to touch tonight.
Not really any topics to talk. Like I said, guys. I mean, I don't
We're
want to
just
seem
at
like
a point
yeah,
with this
like
Giants
I
team,
like
man.
we're of course I love doing this show. It's awesome talking to you guys and chatting up with Kush. like at this point, the Giants right now, I don't care. Like I'm ready for the draft. Like I know a lot of people like Kyle Pitts, don't kill me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm ready. I'm looking forward to the draft already, dude. I'm ready. Like I'm already started. I'm about to start scouting in a little bit. As far as the channel goes, I apologize for my channel being dead, guys. Just that I've been Christmas time. I'm a mail carrier, so I'm working 60 hours a week, so I try my best. But it's like the Giants aren't doing anything to immediately have me put effort into making videos. But yeah, man. At this point, I'm just going along with the ride, man. Clayton Thorson for quarterback. Gary Brightwell, use this man. All right, they're both goats, and that's all I gotta say.
I mean, I don't really have much else to add. Although what I will say is my channel's been kind of out of sync for a couple weeks now because I've been busy. Then this week I've actually been really on top of it, kind of getting back to my old schedule. But then for the next 2 weeks are my finals week, so I'm probably gonna fall back into like you're gonna see one upload a week because next week starting like Monday or Tuesday I think is my first final, and then like I said it's like 2 weeks of finals, so we'll see how that goes, and then we'll be back. But by that time, it's like almost the end of the season.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens. But shout out to everybody here. Thank you all for tuning in. Sober Party, Giants Bean Sports, AB Sedan, Authentic Marjorie. Scrolling up as I'm going here. Duran Osman, G Men. Jaden the Champ was in here. Glock Roach, Big Play, Slay, Edward Chan. Thank you all and everybody else for tuning in. That's it